Hello and welcome to the John Miyaki Show on Bloom TV. I am Amy Salami. Our guest today is a son of the soil. He studied microbiology at the prestigious University of Benin. He got his master's degree in business administration in the USA. He also got his doctorate in business administration in the USA. He is the president CEO of the famous financial services. He's into a lot of other things. He's a philanthropist, and he will share on that in the course of the interview. I am honored to have as our guest today Chief Dr. Billy Osawaru. Thank you so much, sir, for your time.
Thank you for having me.
First of all, I want to say congratulations. You clinched the ticket to vie for the position of to become a member of the House of Representatives. Congratulations, sir.
Thank you very
And you
much.
will be representing the Uhoonde Oriowo constituency.
That's correct.
Okay, before we go into all of the politics and the intrigues, first of all, there's something about your CV. You are a microbiologist.
Yes.
Then, in your second degree, you studied business admin, both in your doctorate, and now you're in the financial sector. That move, what informed that move, like changing your career path?
Microbiology remains my first love. I actually wanted to become a pharmacist. Uh, but of course, then you get into the universities, probably getting what you originally didn't plan. And I thought maybe somewhere along the line I'll be able to change. Before we knew it, 4 years was there, and I graduated with microbiology. And during the course of my studies at the University of Benin, I happened to uh, carry out an internship with Guinness here in Benin, and I was actually in the Malta session, Malta Guinness, and that was when I learned how to brew, and I fell in love with brewing, and I made a decision that after graduating from microbiology, I was going for my master's in industrial microbiology. I mean, that was really the area. But when I graduated, I worked in the hospital for a year, and I really didn't like the environment. You ask me why? Because as a microbiologist, I understood so many things that was not too pleasant. And like being in the hospital environment, the only time you find people really happy or smiling is when somebody put to bed. Most of the time, either somebody just had an accident or somebody has just been diagnosed, with some, so which that was my area. So it was all maybe most times a very dull environment for me, and I'm somebody that always likes to be happy. So I thought about going for my master's in industrial microbiology, but somewhere along the line, somebody too. I always loved business. Okay. Even while I was in school, I still had some business by the side. I always loved to make money. So so when I thought about even as a microbiologist, I needed to maybe do my MBA to be able to run, even if I wanted to set up a lab or something. But I just after my MBA, I fell in love more with business, and I wanted to stay in that financial sector. And because when I graduated from Shula International University in Florida, I actually got a job, part of what we call optional practical training at a finance company, a financial company, where I was supposed to be a financial analyst. But I ended up in the insurance department. So that was, I fell in love with it too because it was a very new area for me. And along the line, after my master's, worked with some very big insurance companies like Nationwide Insurance. I decided to start my own brokerage firm, which is now the famous financial services. And down the line, I just wanted to, go out there and because I love to train, I love to teach. And while I was with Nationwide, I was a corporate trainer as well. So I fell in love with teaching myself. So that was when I wanted to become a scholar. So I went for my doctorate, in international business. And when I finished, of course, as a scholar, I became a university lecturer, where I taught international business, but I was still, in the insurance business. So presently, I'm also a senior marketing director with one of the largest insurance and investment companies in the United States, which is World Financial Group, is the brokerage arm of Transamerica. So World Financial Group's headquarters is in Atlanta, Georgia, where I live. But Transamerica is in San Francisco. So that's actually where I am now. That's how I got to financial services, and I love it.
Oh wow! From what you said, you teacher, you've always loved business,
Yes.
and somehow life just put you through to where you are right now.
Yes.
And then is that how the move into politics came about?
Well, politics has always been in the blood. Growing up, I always loved to volunteer, and that actually made me join the Boy Scouts. I was a Boy Scout when I was in Nigeria. I was a marcher. I marched for Boy Scouts for a long time, and I was very good in signaling, which is the language of the whistle. I love that, and I always love to participate. Anywhere I go, I want to participate. I just don't want to be the person that observes, and that is all. No, I want to be that person that want to contest. And that was where the politics came from, growing up. So even while I was in secondary school, I belonged to different clubs, and where there's something in me when I'm in a team, I always want to prove myself, So that leadership is something I started building long time ago. So when I was in the University of Benin, the same politics, actually came out. I was one of the student union leaders in my time, and you probably heard of the IBB must go, and we were then, present, fighting all that. But again, when I left for the US doing my master's program, I actually became president of the student union government at Shula International. So that politics has always been something I loved, passionate about, and it's always worked for me because I've been able to demonstrate my leadership, and people just bought into it. So
At what point in time did you like say, okay, at this time I want to really do politics, I want to go actively into politics, and what opportunities were you seeking when you decided to go into active politics?
well, as somebody that has always been passionate about things that happen around you, I knew I would do politics, but I didn't know when exactly I would get into mainstream, especially living in the United States. Yes, when I was the president of the student union government at Sheila, I was the head delegate, we belong to the Model United Nations Club. So I was the head delegate. I used to lead the team, to the United Nations every year, until I left. So I became a mentor, to the students I left behind. And going to New York, that was like a mini United Nations because we used to go to that same building, to hold our deliberations, pass laws, and, so I fell in love with that. And I knew one day I was going to take it to the mainstream. But where, I wasn't too sure. A lot of people, encouraged me to play my politics in the US because that was where I live. And there's this thing in me that always keeps telling me Nigeria needs you because the US has very strong institutions. I say US has already, they pay their price, and they have gotten to a stage where certain things can't happen anymore. But in Nigeria, which is my motherland, I can't say that. So I just felt like somebody has to sacrifice for somebody else to benefit. Just like myself, when I came to the United States, I understand too that some people, some time ago, like Martin Luther King Jr., had to sacrifice his own life for us to have, the leverage we have today. Even to be able to vote and all that and be voted for. So I felt like if I really wanted to make an impact, maybe my motherland would be the best place. So Nigeria has always been on my mind, and I've never hidden from that fact. So that was why 12 years ago, I came down here and said, hey, you know what? I just had to give, what I have to offer. But that was when the journey started, and that was when I started running for elective office. I started with the House of Assembly, and of course, you guys already know the story. But I mean, this is a different culture. So when you are in Rome, do as the Romans do. So, yeah, coming from the US where you have all those strong institutions, really didn't deter me when I came here. The first few times I ran, I was asked to, step down, and wait for your time, walk with people. Of course, I just prepared myself for those things, and that was what I did. I walked with people. Yes, it was not a good moment, but I had to stay put. And I've been very consistent and persistent. So this is where we are
Yeah,
now.
you already like answered part of the question I
Yes.
wanted to ask. Like, so far, has the experience been? How easy was it for you to integrate? How was the acceptance when you came down to
Well,
Nigeria?
it wasn't too difficult because I played student politics here before I left. But coming back after some years, uh, where the difficulty was, the issue of asking people to go to the field and prepare for elections. Then some few days to they call you to just step down just like that. That was kind of difficult for me to handle. But I was very lucky the first time I came. Some of the leaders, that I was working with actually prepared me for things like this. And that, hey, look, this is a possibility. I could get to a stage where the leaders will feel like, hey, this is where we are. It's what we call internal democracy. Just step down for this guy to go. So when it happened the first time, yes, I felt bad, but I remembered, what they told me initially, and yeah, I just sucked it up and just kept moving.
This what you just mentioned, I've heard this story about some other young man
Yes.
who was also told to step down.
Yes.
Like, is it not mere lip service when they say, "Oh, not too young to run. We want the youth to come in. Okay, we want people from diaspora to come in and all of that." And when these people come in, you're telling them to hold on. You're telling them to step down. Is it not just mere lip service with what they're saying? And then, secondly, you said you mentioned it's internal democracy. How democratic is that when a few, like so-called elders, are the ones to determine who runs instead of throwing it open for everybody who wants to run?
Well, I would say as I then, I'm sure I felt the same way. You're feeling right now that, oh, this is not right. Why can't we just? But now looking back, I can tell you, well, because probably we don't have those institutions yet, that are so solid, to carry out those kind of activities without rancor. So I feel our leaders, their own belief is this is the best way we can handle this stuff, so that we don't end up, in bloodshed and all that kind of stuff that will actually get out of hands and they can't handle. So maybe this is just their own best way of handling stuff. But again, is this the best? I don't think so. But some of us just believed, yes, you could complain at that time. If I had left, there will not be any way I'll be able to make a difference. I just felt it's hard to make a difference or make an impact from the outside. So you have to be on the inside to make those changes. So that's why I stayed consistent and persistent. So I believe someday I'm going to get there where I'll be able to make those differences. And yeah, it's a matter of, when you have this convincing power over your peers, yes, we can do that. It starts with one person being able to educate others why we don't have to carry out certain systems. Then when they start to believe in it and you start to attract those numbers, then that way will change things over time.
12 years. I think there's a lot to learn from your patients, though. Like, it's a lot to learn. How do we change this? How do we change this narrative? How do we address this issue? Because not everybody would be as patient as you are. Like the young man, he had a lot of support, a lot of youth. They were so happy. And then I think twice he was told to step down, and then he was so discouraged. So, how do we address this?
Well, first of all, you have to convince yourself. You have to have the vision yourself before coming out to say you want to run for an elective office. Make sure it's not somebody or a set of people pushing you to go do it, because you're going to get discouraged and never to come back. But if it's your own vision, yes, it's like whatever you do and you love it, you're passionate about it, it really doesn't look like you're doing anything. Yes, I spent a lot of money, time, and all that, but because it's something I'm passionate about, I don't feel it even the way my supporters feel. They are surprised that every 4 years I'm back and I'm still very strong, running. So that's what the first thing I tell somebody that wants to run for elective office, especially here in Nigeria, is, hey, make sure you are the one that really wants it. You believe in your vision. If not, you're going to get discouraged and you are gone. And it will be a very bad taste in your mouth. When people talk about politics anymore, that person will be the last person that want to hear it. But because people like us, is my vision, I follow it. I know, where this is going to lead me. I know there will be challenges, obstacles. And some of those hurdles, I have crossed them. Just like everything in life, you got to cross hurdles. Anything that's too easy at the end of the day might not be worth it. So when you think back and, look at how you got to where you are today, then you're going to really be serious about what you do. I've always been confident about myself because I have lived and worked in a developed society where I've been trained on ethics, and whatever you do it very well. The result will always be good. And yes, you work hard, but you work smart as well. I understand, as somebody like me, I work outside Nigeria. I understood one thing, that if I wanted to win, I needed to start way earlier than the others. And I started earlier than everybody. Even though I was still over there, but I put everything on ground, to start moving. And when I came down here, we were already moving really hard, as if yesterday was the election. Even some people that came to join me in the field later, had not even made up their mind whether to run or not. But I knew I needed to work 3-4 times harder than those people, because I knew my strength, I knew my weaknesses. I did my own, analysis, and I just knew that was the only way. You have to start. It's a marathon. You got to start. You got to be persistent. You got to be consistent and carry the team. So from day one, I put my team together. The momentum was there. I did everything to make sure the momentum never came down, especially with my team. So you will agree with me that, yes, I have one of the best media teams, out there. And we were just out there fighting. Every day I told them, listen, it's not over until it's over. Let's keep fighting. Let's put everything. And for your information, I started my race 2 years ago. So I started putting everything in place. Of course, I know, yes, you're going to need finance. And I started putting money away. Where people want to maybe put some buildings down, maybe two. I can do one and just leave money for one by the side. That was what I was doing because I knew I was going to need that money later down the line. Of course, like every other thing, goodwill. People will come to you for help. Be there to help them because tomorrow you're going to need them. So I built goodwill over time as well. And as somebody, I am a philanthropist. I love to give. I love to put smiles on people's faces. I believe in life. It is not what you do for your blood relatives that really defines who you are. What you do for people that don't even know you. If I can put a smile on one person's face that doesn't even know me, I have achieved. And that is why, every year I started sponsoring National Directorate of Employment program on skill acquisition, and empowering women, set up a cooperative, giving women and other men, money to just add to whatever they were doing. They didn't have to. Some of them were grants, while some were just zero interest loan. We were just turning around for other people, just put smiles. So I did all those things over time, and that actually gave me a lot of goodwill. So when I came out to run, I didn't find it difficult to find a lot of supporters behind me.
So, aside the works you did, the philanthropic works
Yes.
and all of that, you said you put some money.
Oh yes, you have to. Yeah, you have to because at the end of the day, to get people to stand by you, to believe in you, of course, you're gonna have to take care of people's needs. From data, you give people data, to on their phones, credit on their phones, to push your message, to tell people who you are is money, right? Logistics is money. To put your face out there is money. So we know politics comes with money. So I was ready for these things because if I'm the man going there, I think people will come to me when those things are needed. And I had to provide, and which I did. So that helped me. I'm a title chief in Benin Kingdom. I understand what it means to respect your elders, your leaders. When you have political leaders, I can't go see a political leader without going there with cola nuts, drinks, and yes, sometimes you just maybe you want them to help you do one or two things. You have to take care of their logistics too, right? So those were the things I did. For other people, I really don't know. I can't say, but I know maybe some opponents, used to go around saying, "There's money. Don't worry. When it's time, we will roll out the money." But my own was just, "Hey, use this money wisely, and you will get your support." And that was what I did, and I got my support.
That's so nice. You mentioned that while you were over there, you
Yes.
started putting things on ground and all
Yes.
of that. So now you have the ticket. You are a registered member of your party.
Yes.
But information just came in unconfirmed, not verified, still a rumor, we don't know. So I just felt, okay, let me just bring it to your notice that you were not in town when the registration was ongoing. So you shouldn't be the one representing the party, that there's a petition against you. Can you please address this rumor?
Well, I would have loved to talk more about it, but the case is in court, and my lawyer is already handling that. There's just so much I can say when it comes. But one thing for sure is, um, I'm a bona fide member of APC. Not just a bona fide member, I'm also a financial member, and I'm sure you have seen the party APC, came out as a party to confirm that. It was on newspapers. It was on TV. About 2 weeks or 3 weeks ago. So we had those things, and the party, actually took it up. And oh yes, he's on TV and on newspapers. That yes, I am a bona fide member, and I'm also a financial member. So whoever is out there, trying to carry those kind of frivolous, news is very unfortunate. And yes, we know the angle these things are coming from, but it's politics. Sometimes when people feel like, oh, this guy has gone too far, the only way we can catch him is to create some distractions. Yeah, they engage themselves in things like this. So I will let my lawyer handle the rest, and the party has actually done a good job, in addressing this issue. So I would love to leave it there, so every other thing will be taken care of.
Okay, wish all the best in
Thank
this
you very much.
situation. Finally, fine. You have the ticket to represent your party.
Yes.
Now you'll be having when the polls come, there'll be candidates from
Yes.
other parties.
Yes.
So this is now inter-party affair.
Yes.
What edge do you think you have over other candidates from? We're not talking about them, but let's just talk about you. What edge do you think you have? What do you think you have that would make you clinch that position?
Well, I'm sure my primaries actually prepared me for the general elections because it was not easy considering the caliber of people I ran against, and I did a whole lot, because where preparedness meets opportunity, that's success. So I worked hard, and I'm still working very hard. And for me, I have looked at the whole terrain. Yes, this is a time where I think my party, APC, we are very strong. We have a sitting member in the House of Reps right now who is solidly behind me, and that is, of course, an edge because he did very well, and I think he still has some time, and he's still going to do more. So when you talk about welfare program, I think he's number one. But here they call it stomach infrastructure, but we call it welfare program. The guy, my right honorable Patrick Asowe, did well in that aspect. So it's something I think I'm going to follow through, because you have to make sure your people are okay. And because of that, he enjoys a lot of goodwill, which by extension is getting to me too. And we're in the same party, and we've gone out to even harvest members from different parties just because of some of those good things he has done, and I want to follow through with that. But aside that, for me too, because of the goodwill I've built on my own, which I'll still continue to build. Yes, I've become a household name too in Orion and Nwode, and they look forward to, and they have, when you talk about trust, when you say trustworthiness, yes, I think I am, because the institution I belong to is the very revered institution in the Kingdom of Benin, which is the Palace of, Oba of Benin, where I'm a title holder. I'm the Oba Zonwa of Benin Kingdom, Oba Atokbe. Okay. So to be one of those, to belong to that institution, of course, yeah, they might have done a lot of background checks on you. So the people back home understand that as well, and they are very strongly behind me when it comes to trustworthiness. So more of that, I can relate. You can tell I'm a bridge between the youth and the elderly, right? So they know the wisdom is there because of the title I hold. Every day I'm opportune and privileged to work with older people, and I tap from their wisdom too. And talking about the youth, of course, I can relate very well. I can don't get fooled by the beads. Yes, I can still do a lot of things the youth really love to do. I can hang out, I can club, I can do anything. So and I think yes, so carrying people along in all aspects, I think that's something I have a niche, when it comes to then whether people really believe I can deliver. Yes, you see, people have seen me from the little I shared about myself. If you look at my profile, going out there to make good laws for my people is not a problem for me anymore because I've been to the highest stage when you talk about making laws, even as a student, going to the United Nations to go make laws. So thinking about the kind of things we want to do, yes, of course, pro people, pro youth, pro women, anything that will make our people comfortable, I'm for it. especially when we talk about insecurity. I don't think is anything good because growing up, here in Benin, we never had issues with insecurity. And I believe these are issues that must be addressed. And again, I see something as a leveler for every child, irrespective of the background you come from, is education. So we're going to make sure, just like when I got an award a week or 2 weeks ago, from I think Edo Legacy Foundation, and part of their goal was to supply, free notebooks to schools. And I just told them I was going to handle what is coming to Rio and Hode, because I believe I'm a child of free education. I'm a product of free education. When Ali was the governor of Bender State, so we were in school then. So I know what that can do for you. So if we can get, then public schools were better than private schools. So my wish is someday for us to be able to go back there, and be able to get our children, because every child cannot go to private school. So I'm going to stand very firm when it comes to education for all. So if possible, I'm going to sponsor a bill, to make sure there's free education up to the secondary school level. Right? So those then healthcare. Health is wealth. So I believe representing, the federal constituency that is mostly rural, healthcare is something big, So, as you know, we don't have a general hospital in Uhode or Orion. That's something we must pursue, because if you have to drive at least 30 minutes to an hour from Orion or Uhode, that's the closest village to Oredo, to bring somebody that is sick to Benin, you'll see that half of those people might not make it.
We're not even talking about bad roads.
Exactly. So half of those people might not make it. But if we have a very good primary healthcare system, we have a general hospital, a teaching hospital, I'm sure most of those things will be taken care of. So if we don't have anything like that yet, trust me, those are the kind of bills I want to sponsor and actually get colleagues to join me to push them. So with those, three cardinal points, of course, if we get there, we're going to do more. If I sit here and start telling you I'm going to deliver on 100 things, I'm not telling you the whole truth, right? So, but those are really the things that stand out for now. But another area I did talk about is it's easy to sponsor bills and get them passed. What about the oversight function? That's where a lot of our lawmakers fall short. You just pass the bills, they become laws. It doesn't end there. You want to make sure you carry out your oversight function, because that is where the executive will have to respect you, because they need to get the job done. That is the area I really want to, yes, because the society I'm coming from, implementation is key.
A lot of check.
Yes, they want to see that it's done. So those are the areas I really want to be strong.
This is it for today. It's been a nice time with Chief Dr. Billy Osawaru. He would be representing the APC in the forthcoming election to vie for the position to be a member of the House of Representatives, representing the Uhumude Oriomo Federal Constituency.